Hey, yeah, I'm back again. This time with something a little more cheery. So a few weeks ago, I did a share of my Switch games collection, largely because it was the smallest one that I had. Well, second smallest, third smallest. I don't know. It was the most easily accessible. Physically, it was the smallest one. But anyway, so I decided, you know what? I'm gonna just share my another collection with you today. And today it's going to be going way back in time by about 20 years, 20, 25 years, not 25 years because it's not that old of a console. But anyway, back to what currently exists in my PS2 library. Now, back in the day, prior to 2005, I actually had a very respectable PS2 library. Um, I had basically any kind of RPG could get my hands on back then. I took my chances with some budget titles, just anything I would pick up that looked good. YouTube wasn't a thing back then, so you couldn't really watch reviews of anything. I just go off of word of mouth or good box art, whatever. And yeah, so I had a bunch of games that were pretty cool. Like I can think of like the first two Midnight Club games. I had those. I had this, oh, was it like a Star Wars Starfighter game that came out early on. Um, the one that really stuck with me that I hate myself for getting rid of is I had all four parts of the original Dot Hack quadrilogy. Is that a word? Quadrilogy? Four parts. Anyway, I picked up Dot Hack Infection uh, based on a coworker's recommendation. He explained the game to me. It sounded really cool, so I picked it up. You know, got into it, played through it, liked the lore. Then I found out that there was an anime attached to it, so I started watching the anime too as the volumes came out. I didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch the Cartoon Network or anything. I was worked Saturday nights anyway, so I couldn't really watch it anyway. But anyway, I was collecting both the anime and the four games as they were being released. So there's Dot Hack Infection, Dot Hack Mutation. A few months later, there was Outbreak, and then what was it, about a year into it, Dot Hack Quarantine came out, and yeah, knowing how much Dot Hack Quarantine goes for nowadays, I am so pissed at myself for getting rid of it. But in 2005, um, I ran into a financial issue thanks to my employment being unceremoniously, yeah, I had a little incident with my employer that they decided to blow one incident up into three, fired me for it, and yeah, so I had to pay the rent somehow. So I eBayed off a lot of my games and movies I had back then. There were so many collections I had back then, and they're all gone now. But there were a few that I held on to that I was very very adamant about holding on to, or that I've collected since then. So I'm just gonna show you what I've got currently, and we're just gonna go through this alphabetically. So first off, I'm gonna need my glasses because there's a lot of reading involved, and I am quite nearsighted. But I still like the way that I look with glasses on, so bear with me, please. Don't make fun of me too much, please. So we're gonna start off here with Ace Combat 4, Shattered Skies. So this is one that actually I bought. Oh my god, what was it? Was it back in like 2005, 2006? Let's see, when did it come out? I don't remember. See if it says on the back here. But anyway, I initially bought it when it first came out because it sounded like fun, and I did play it once, and I got pretty far into it, but then I got into one of these timed missions, and I didn't have the patience to redo it, so I put it down, never picked it up again. But yeah, it doesn't say what year this was, but I wound up trading off my first copy of it, or selling it off as part of that purge I was talking about. At least I think it was back then, or maybe it was my 2009 purge. Yeah, I had a couple purges where I was unemployed, needed to raise some funds for rent. Anyway, I had the game back then. I just played one time, played for like 4 or 5 hours, put it down, never went back to it. I kept seeing this copy over at I got a text message came in. Um, I kept finding copies of this game at the local retro game shop, so picked it up. It was $6, so I was like, what the hell? So it was fun, but just haven't gone back into it, let's see here. This was a more recent pickup for me, sometime last year. Activision Anthology. Kind of self-explanatory. It's just a collection of Activision games from the Atari heyday. I actually have yet to play this one. I just found it at the game shop, and it was something like $3 or $4. So I said, you know what, I might get the nostalgia bug from time to time, so let's have it on hand just in case. I mean, you had games like River Raid and Pitfall. What else we got here? The Chopper Command. Keystone Capers was a really fun one that I loved when I was a kid. Laser Blast was a lot of fun. Sequest was interesting. If you surface without a diver on your ship, you die. But yeah. Oh, and there was a soundtrack on here. Blondie, Missing Persons, Soft Cell, Twisted Sister, Wall of Voodoo, and more. Woo! And let's see here. Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance. I picked this one up from the same used game shop. It's supposed to have been about 2 or 3 years ago now. I've played it once, but I got distracted after a couple hours, and now I haven't touched this copy of it since then. I do have the Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance bundle on my PS5, PS4, PS5, and I think I touched on it for a little bit. Maybe I haven't. I forget. I've got it. I just haven't played it. And then there's Burnout. This one I got, I think it was last year, solely for the purpose of fleshing out the collection. I mean, I understood that the original Burnout wasn't all that good. It was good concept, just not very, especially after the other games. It's just not not very noteworthy. I just have it to have it. Play it one time. It's a lot harder than the other games, largely because of that timer. And then there's Burnout 2, Point of Impact. This is where I got started. I mean, this game here, I saw it on the shelves a couple months after release, and I had seen some of the promotional media for it, thought, okay, this seems pretty cool. Picked it up, and yeah, it was well worth it for me. Loved loved crash mode, loved the just love the speed of it, loved loved the soundtrack. It just it was pure racing fun, and good God, I'm so glad I got this game. This is one of the few that I did not trade off when I had my employment lapses. And then there's the arguably the pinnacle of the franchise, Burnout 3 Takedown, which for me this was a day one pickup. Yeah, I remember when I first got it. Um, there was a funny thing around the back. You got the ESRB rating in here. It's rated teen on this package, but when I first picked it up, there was an additional sticker slapped on top of it with additional content warnings. Um, I think there was one for some kind of violence, as well as for language. Language because there's a crash condition or crash call out called "damn van." So swears. But yeah, this one I would play this one so fucking much for the first year or so. I was one of the top road rage players in the online mode. God, it was fun. It was just fucking awesome. And then, of course, there is Burnout Revenge, which in some ways is superior to Takedown. Other ways, not so much. Like yeah, I don't remember what kind of an online mode they had for this one, but I never actually cleared this one. Actually, I haven't cleared any of the Burnout games. I get pretty far into them, but then the races would get to be more than I could do. You get into those superclass cars, and it's too fast for me. But I had a hell of a lot of fun with this one. Again, this is my original copy. I never sold this one off. Hell of a lot of fun. And follow that up with Burnout Dominator, which it has its good points and its bad points. It seems kind of like a stripped down version of the previous games. It's still Burnout at its core, but it feels like it's missing something. But it does have like 20,000 versions of was it Avril Lavigne's Girlfriend? I mean, I don't understand what their obsession was with that one song, but it's like 7 or 8 versions of it, all in that one soundtrack. I didn't understand that whatsoever, but it was a worthy pickup. I didn't get a new. I got used about 3 years ago. I just hang on to it because, well, flesh out the collection. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Disgaea, Hour of Darkness. The game that started a fucking God. For me, this is what kickstarted my love for SRPGs. Well, not this one, but the second one. But this is where it all began. And as far as Disgaea games go, it for me it was the pinnacle of the storytelling. Had the best story, arguably the best characters with Laharl, Etna, and Flan. I mean, Gordon, Jennifer, and Thursday, whatever. I couldn't care less about them. But the OG cast, the original trio, definitely the best. Yes. But for me, it all began here with Disgaea 2. Because by the time I actually discovered the series, Disgaea 1 was already off store shelves. Although I did find that one at Best Buy about a year later, right before the Greatest Hits versions came out. But for me, Disgaea 2 is where it all began. And Yeah, I was so lost with how the systems worked because, in-game tutorials weren't all that great, and the item world confused the hell out of me. But I still had so much fun with this game. It was it. This is where my love for SRPGs really took off. Yeah, I played Final Fantasy Tactics, but I've long forgotten about that by the time this one came out. Still, great game. Let's see here. Freedom Fighters. This is one that I bought and I played through most of the campaign, I think, until I hit a wall and I just couldn't figure out what to do. So I put it down, never went back to it, sold off my original copy of it. Then I saw this one at the used game shop again. Forgot if it was at GameStop, I think it was. Yeah, probably based on the sticker there. So I picked it up again, played through a couple chapters of it, haven't really gotten this far, put it down again, got sidetracked with other games. Still, had fun with it. And then there's Gran Turismo 3, another game that I had originally, sold off, bought a new copy of it later on. And for me, personally, this was the pinnacle of the Gran Turismo franchise. I mean, a lot of people will say that 4 was the pinnacle, but I don't know. 4 just wasn't the same for me. But this one, I just love being able to just jump in and do what I wanted with it. You didn't have all these restrictions on everything. You could just play according to the way that you wanted for the most part. I mean, yeah, you had a few circuits, a few series that were locked, restricted to certain car types, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the other games. But had a hell of a lot of fun with this one. And then there's Burnout 4. Yeah, Burnout 4. Gran Turismo 4. And this is one that I bought like right away when it first came out. But the UI, the whole thing with Gran Turismo points and just the the menu navigation, like the home, like your home screens and everything, it was so clunky, and the races felt so restrictive on what you could do and what you couldn't do, and I just could never get into it. I mean, people will say that it was the greatest racing game on the PS2, maybe the greatest game in the Gran Turismo franchise, but I just couldn't get into it. But I wound up selling it pretty early on after I got it because I just couldn't get into it. Picked this one up, what was it, 2 years ago? I was just looking to flesh out my PS2 collection again. Let's see what we got here. We've got, yeah, this one, oh, Grandia 2. I have yet to even play it, but I've heard really good things about the first couple Grandia games, so I decided, you know what, I'll just go ahead and pick it up. So it's $25 that I spent on it just to have it. Was it a sound investment? Probably not. But it's one of those things where eventually I'll get around to it. Just don't know when. But my understanding of it is that it's a highly regarded PS2 RPG. So I decided to just go ahead and take it home with me. Someday we'll see how good it actually is. Oh, yes, and here we go. I got suckered into the Guitar Hero craze. So I had the original Guitar Hero. Actually, it was not the first one I bought. That would be the second game. This one I picked up I believe it was during that brief time when I worked the night shift at the Walmart Supercenter in Rice Lake. I mean, I was only there for like a month or two, and I think I picked this up back at that point because they were demoing it, and I decided, it, it was sitting there taunting me all along, so I picked up a copy. I in no way ever put as much time into it as I did with the other games in the series, but I still unlocked all the songs, so I still put through its paces. And here's where it all began for me, Guitar Hero 2. Now, I can thank my brother for this one. Not for this copy, but for exposing me to the games to begin with. I'm not sure what I was doing up there, but I was up in Superior for a weekend visiting him and my sister-in-law. Yeah, he had Guitar Hero 2. He had just gotten it not too long ago. Offered, let me try it out, and yeah, I mean, I was so sleep deprived that when I got up there that I really didn't know what I was doing, but something about the fun factor just stuck with me. So I I think went to Best Buy a few weeks later. So I was on the shelf there, popped down $80 for it, got the guitar and everything with it, and yeah, I still have a functional guitar somehow. But yeah, for me, this one exposed me to a lot of good music too. Anthrax, Madhouse, love that one. And then there's Rocks the 80s, which I don't remember when I picked this one up exactly. I think I picked it up after the others. Or maybe I got a new, I don't remember. But yeah, this is one that kind of disappointed me because, just because of the lack of song quantity. So I was kind of disappointed. There were some good songs, but not enough to really keep me interested. And there was Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. Maybe the most well known of the Guitar Hero games. I'm not really sure if that or World Tour would be, but I picked this one up, and this was the one that I played the most um, back when I was still with Nola, and we tried playing together, and I don't know. I got a lot of conflicting memories based on this game because of that. But yeah, honestly, I really didn't care as much for these song selections off this one as I did for Guitar Hero 2. Still played the hell out of it for a while. But for me, let's see here. Oh yeah, there was Guitar Hero Aerosmith, which I picked up at what was it? It was not GameStop. It was let's see, it was EB Games, Electronics Boutique. Yeah, they're selling it for like half off. It was like $10. So this is back in like '09 when I bought it. Same issue as Rocks the 80s, just overall lack of song quantity kind of threw me off. Still, I got it. Play it once in a while. Haven't played it for a few years, but it takes up space on my shelf. Okay, and now we're jumping down, skipping a few letters here, going into the M's. Got a Mega Man Anniversary Collection, which nowadays is totally irrelevant because you got the Mega Man and Legacy collections. So the only benefit this would have would be the Power Fighter games, and I think Battle and Chase was on here too. But otherwise, yeah, there's really no point in me having it. Still, I enjoyed the I enjoyed the old Mega Man games. I've actually never finished more than a couple of them. Mega Man 1, Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3 I finished one time. The others, no, not yet. And speaking of totally negated, there's the Mega Man X collection, which is further negated because you got the X Legacy collections, volumes 1 and 2, which actually has more games. Oh yeah, this is the one that had Battle and Chase on it. Sorry, I was thinking it was the other one because that was classic Mega Man. But anyway, yeah, I had this one way back when, sold it off because of that whole financial crisis I was in. Picked this copy up from Amazon, I think it was. It wasn't very expensive, like $15. Um, yeah, so after all this time, I have only completed 4 of the 8 Mega Man X games. I completed X1, of course. I got a few playthroughs on my channel. X2, I've played through that numerous times. Again, you'll find a playthrough on my channel from a couple years ago. X3, I played on this version, and I got as far as, what was he called, Kaiser Sigma? And I spent probably a full afternoon trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do with him. Could not figure out how to navigate that final form. So gave up on it after a few hours because I couldn't figure it out. I beat X4 with both X and Zero. Funny thing is, people would talk about how in X4 Zero is supposedly the harder character to play as, and X is supposedly easy mode. I find the opposite. I mean, for me, X was a harder one to play as. I think because you got to go through all the boss weaknesses and you got to keep distance. But for my playstyle, I found Zero is just so much more fun to play as. Easier for me to just get in there, slash, just hit and run tactics. So I could easily play through with Zero, using just the standard upgrades, and never have an issue. And I also have finished X5 multiple times. I can't do it anymore though because, well, I get to that um, Zero stage 1 where they got those laser beams, and I don't have the reflexes anymore to navigate that once that time stop thingy wears out. So somehow I've lost a step over the years. And of course, X6, X7, X8. I have yet to finish any of those. So, unfortunate, but what can you do? Oh yeah, and this one with no artwork, no case, no official case or anything. I did pick up Mega Man X Command Mission. It was a $16 pickup at the same used game shop that I get everything else at. Haven't played it yet, but I figure this game is one of those that might be worth something down the road. So I figured this copy only is better than no copy. So we'll just keep doing that. Okay, down here. Oh yes, Mercenaries, Playground of Destruction. I have absolutely loved this game from the first time I turned it on. I mean, whether or not you play it legit or you use cheat codes, there's just something to be said about taking a a random soldier, random mercenary, just getting dumped into admittedly scaled down version of North Korea, where you've got what, five different factions vying for control of the country, to help or hurt as you see fit. You want to call in an airstrike on the bridge, destroy it, leave it in ruins. Hey, go for it. You want to level downtown Pyongyang? Hey, go for it. Steal a helicopter, mid-flight, and just go to town on some of those buildings. Watch the world crumble right in front of you. I had a lot of fun with this one. Only thing I didn't like was the load times. But yeah, it was a game that I did play through all the way. I did start a second playthrough. I just never got very far with it because I had other games I had to attend to. But still, this one was always a highly recommended one, just because you can just run around mayhem and destruction to your heart's content. If you got the money, they got the they got the armaments. And down here, the granddaddy of all PS2 football games, and arguably any football game since, NFL 2K5, which I actually picked this one up off Amazon a couple years ago because, well, I was missing the game after I'd sold it off way back when. And yeah, I mean, even today, it still holds up pretty well. I mean, graphically, yeah, it's not as great as your modern Maddens, but it was an alternative option to Madden back in the day, and I would dare say that it was better than Madden in a lot of ways. Maybe the lack of an owner mode would have been nice to address, but I still have not forgiven EA for what they did in response to this game. That whole monopoly deal with the NFL, it's just absolute bullshit. That's why I don't buy Madden anymore. So I boycotted Madden ever since they signed that monopoly deal, because I think the world needs more NFL 2K. And now here what we got. We've got Phantom Brave. This is one I got through some of the chapters of. Don't know how far I actually got into the story overall, but I kind of hit a wall after about a dozen or so hours and just didn't have the will to keep grinding away. Still, I like the the standard signature Nippon Ichi gameplay and humor to it. The sprites are very recognizable as Nippon Ichi sprites. And yeah, I actually placed an order with Amazon yesterday to get the NIS Classics Volume 1, which includes this one and Soul Nomad as a collector's edition. Because I am going to finish that game. I am going to finish this game. Just not on this platform. And down here, let's see. Our Racing Evolution. I'll be honest with you, I have never even put this one in my PS2. I just bought it because it was something I didn't have for a reasonable price. So someday I'll get started and actually play it. And down here, Ratchet Deadlocked. This is the only Ratchet & Clank game that I have actually finished, but had a hell of a lot of fun with it. Replayed it a few times already. Just really enjoyed it. Actually, I liked it enough that I there was a version on the PS3 that was made available as part of a download package. I downloaded that one, and I don't know what the hell they did with that version, but there are so many graphical errors in that thing that this is still the superior version. But yeah, I actually found the announcers to be fun. Be good entertainment for the most part. I mean, yeah, they got a little redundant after a while if you play the same levels over and over again. But there's a lot of that signature Ratchet and Clank humor, and it was definitely not a waste of money. And let's see here. And of course, I got Rock Band because I like Guitar Hero. Ergo, I must like Rock Band. I bought it because I just want some variety in my Guitar Hero playing. I bought this one maybe 3 years ago. Haven't played too much, but yeah, I got this version because I wasn't sure about the compatibility with the Wii version as far as the guitars go. So I knew that the PS2 Guitar Hero guitar worked on it, and it was only $3, so that helped make the decision a lot easier. And another JRPG that I have not played, Rogue Galaxy. Heard really good things about it, and saw that's been highly rated all along. So I decided, I'll go ahead and pick it up. Someday I'll actually start playing it, or I'll buy the PS4, PS5 version, whatever it is now, and play it that way. Who knows? Yeah, let's see what we got here. And of course, I got The Sims because I don't even know why. I've got the other versions on the PC and PS4. Why did I buy this? I don't know. Because I thought that a different version of The Sims might shake up my gameplay experience a little bit. Who knows? Okay. And there was Sims busting out. Again, why the hell did I buy it? I have no fucking clue. I haven't even put it in the PS2 yet to turn it on, see what it's like. Okay. And The Sims 2 on PS2. This one I did play quite a bit back in the day, um, back when it was new. Not this copy, but my original copy of it. And actually, it was kind of fun going through the storyline, I guess. But there was so much shit that just took forever to do, and I got irritated. And never actually did finish the storyline, and I won't with this copy either. Okay, going down, 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 and okay, I don't care what people say. I fucking love Soul Nomad and the World Eaters. I mean, yeah, the gameplay is pretty random as far as what can happen because you have no direct control over your squad's combat targets, other than target this squad and that squad. But the storytelling is, yeah, Yuri what's his name? Yuri Lowenthal as a gig absolutely makes the game for me. Just he was the perfect voice acting choice for this game. Yeah, without his voice acting, yeah, the game would not be nearly as memorable for me. But I still love the game. It's Nipponichi SRPG goodness. Not as refined as say Disgaea, but it's actually deals with more some darker and more mature themes than Disgaea does. I mean, there's talk about things like child trafficking and some implications of sexual abuse. Get thrown into the storyline, so it does get kind of dark at times. And you got one of the most tragic characters in the game. Actually, the most tragic character in the game is you got Thorndyke. You know, so there's two paths you can take in the game. There's the normal path, which you get your first time through, and the demon path. So normal path, Thorndyke at one point actually calls out the government of his kingdom of Raid. You know, calls out the corruption in front of the entire Senate, and yeah, he winds up getting executed for that. And in the other path, the demon path, he completely loses his mind and goes totally psychotic. Like like his mind is just completely shattered because of how you treat him. So yeah, there's definitely some more mature themes here. Sometimes I'm surprised that this game only got 18 rating based on the language and some of the darker themes. But yeah, it was definitely one of my all-time favorite PS2 games. It's part of why I got the NIS collection for the Switch, because I want to play this game again, you know, on a modern platform. And let's see what's next here. SSX3. This is one that I think I just plug it in at random and just fuck around with it for like half an hour or so. Because it just, for me, it feels like one of those good time games. You just use it to decompress. I haven't played for a long time, but I do remember, just go up on the mountain, do whatever the hell you feel like on the way down, and just enjoy the trip. So yeah. Oh, getting down there. Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is my original copy of it. And yeah, I put a lot of hours into it. Never did do the online stuff, but I did single player campaign, and I love that Galactic Conquest mode where you're like, you're moving planet to planet and doing skirmish after skirmish, and just have fun with that. Control point is secure. Control point is secure. Yeah. Anyway, classic game. I heard that the remaster on the modern platforms was a total fuck up, so I'll stick with this one for now. Let's see. And possibly my most valuable PS2 game got Suikoden 5. Now this one has kind of a sad story behind it. At the time I bought it, a lot of the copies were going for like $60 open and used and whatever. I found this one, the seller had it for $30 new. So I bought it and they shipped it out. But when I got it, the case had been smashed on the inside. So I unfortunately had to open it up and see what the condition of the disc was. And unfortunately, there was some light scratching on the disc, but it was one of those cases where you had the teeth and not just the two parts, and the teeth were just scattered all over the inside. So I had to commandeer a different PS2 game case and transfer the artwork over and everything. But it is, as far as I know, my most valuable PS2 game. I've played it once or twice, but I don't know. I had other games that called out to me more, so this one's sat more than it's been played. Oh, moving down. Unreal Tournament. This is one of the first games I bought on my PS2. Not this copy, of course, but back when the PS2 was first out, and not a lot of games. So I had seen my my former roommate played Unreal Tournament on her computer back in the early 2000s, and that looked pretty fun. So when I saw that there was a PS2 version, I jumped on it. Did have a lot of fun with it though. Haven't played it since I picked this copy up, but just to have it is good. Moving on down, and yeah, that's a reach anymore. So I got Xenosaga Episode 1. I do not know how you want to say that subtitle. Der will Zermacht. I don't know if I said that right. In truth, I never finished this one. I got, I think, to most of the way through the final dungeon, but so yeah, back when I was playing through this game, I was dating Noah, and one of the things with her was a hearing impairment. Now, unfortunately, she was kind of person that would cause her some, to get down and depressed from time to time. And as it turned out, one of the final puzzles in this game, or one of the puzzles in what I think was the final dungeon, was a sound-based puzzle. And I don't know, I had a really hard time trying to do the puzzle with her around, and yeah, it's hard to explain, but because it was a sound-based puzzle, I really wasn't comfortable trying to solve it with her right there, because I was trying to protect her feelings. Still, it was a good enough game that I jumped ahead and picked up the sequel, Xenosaga Episode 2, which a lot of people say is kind of a dumpster fire of a game. I didn't see it that way. I mean, yeah, it was a lot different aesthetically, and some of the storytelling was kind of weird, but it was a continuation of the story, so it was fine. I did finish this one, left on a cliffhanger ending, and yeah. And then I don't know if this was more valuable than the other one or not, but I picked up Xenosaga Episode 3, also Sprach Zarathustra. A name I probably just butchered right now, but yeah. I picked this one up at the used game shop way back when. I think it was like $30 I paid for it. Only complaints I've got is that it did not come with the manual, so I need to track one of those down to make it a complete copy. Have not started playing this game yet, but it is on my to-do list eventually. I just want to see how the Xenosaga trilogy ends. And speaking of the end, I have my final game here, XG3 Extreme G Racing. I had this one when it first came out. Could not really understand what I was doing because the money system was so weird that I kept running out of money and couldn't proceed in the races because, well, my car wasn't upgraded very well. So I kept I would just hit a wall where I was like, oh shit, I'm not good enough to proceed to the next circuit. So what do I do? Yeah, so I put it down, wound up selling off the original copy. Picked this one up earlier last year, just because, well, I give it another shot. I think I understand it a little bit better nowadays. I think you're actually able to go back and earn more prize money by redoing circuits and in series. So someday, hope to get back into it. I love the original Extreme G Racing. Hated Extreme G2 because there was some weird physics going on with that game. But this one seems pretty good. Sense of speed is kind of hard to get accustomed to, but yeah. it was a game that really did push you to your limits if you want to place well. But yeah, that, ladies and gentlemen, is my entire current PS2 game collection. And I rambled on for way too long here, so I'm going to shut up, stop this recording, and go to bed. So, hope you enjoyed, because, yeah, I like talking about my games. Anyway, we'll see you later.